about your date you had with, who was it? George Jessel or somebody? No, who was it?
Oh, there was George Jessel.
Oh, at the temple.
You knew. Oh, that was it.
Now, George Jessel was a
comedian.
no.
Yes, he was.
Comedian?
Yeah.
I felt like a Toastmaster, like a Toastmaster. Is that what it was?
Anyway, he was a celebrity.
He was at the temple in Swampscott.
Yeah.
Well, I lived in New York. You really want to hear this?
Yeah, it's a funny story.
And the singer, John O'Neill, who was there then.
I don't know him.
Well, I was living in New York.
Get your
at that
pass out,
time.
girls, because we're going to
Right,
hear everything.
facts and facts. I was living in New York at that time, and I came home because her mother was the president of the temple, and there was a big celebration, and they hired entertainers, amongst which was Georgie Jessel. He was an old-time comedian. Oh my goodness, he's filming.
Keep it clean.
Well, anyway, I take my glasses off, but I can't see it. Anyway, and when I was in New York, in a little tiny restaurant, I sat down at, it was like a hamburger place, and this young man sat down beside me, and he started talking with me, and his name was John O'Neill, and he said that he was a polo player and that he was playing polo that night at Madison Square Garden. And he said, please come with a friend. And I said, who is this guy? I said, no, thank you. Took the card, but of course I never went. Fast forward a year or two later, at this gala, before Georgie Jessel came out, they said, here from New York, this wonderful singer, John O'Neill. Oh my God, I know that guy. He sat beside me. Anyway, he started singing, and afterwards, of course, he came down and introduced himself. And from this, and I was saying to Harriet, although you don't remember, and Shirley, I said, I know him. No, you don't know him. And he started to look at me, and after he performed, he came right. He said, Rochelle. I said, oh. And eventually, you know, we did get to. He said, will you go out with me now? Now you know him. He said, I never told anyone I was a singer about it. Anyway, so I did. I went out with him for a long time. He's a nice guy. However, then Georgie Jessel. And of course, we had the main table.
Where were you? At Lindstrom?
It was in a temple.
Oh, that was at the temple.
Temple Israel.
Main table. And Georgie Jessel is performing. And he came down afterwards and asked my mother and father if he could take me out.
Well, he was how old?
He was like 30. I don't know. If I was 25, he was 65.
65, yeah.
So my mother said, absolutely not. And Pa said, why not?
And her?
Why not? So we lived in that little house on Colorado
On the street, right behind Alabama Street. They lived behind the street.
He came, somebody in a limousine picked me up, and I don't remember what restaurant.
You went out with him?
To. We did. I know you went out. So we go to Pier 4, I think it was. Oh my God, look what I'm doing.
That's okay.
Getting all excited here. Go to Pier 4, and there was some other star that came over to him and said, oh, it's so nice to see you, Georgie. And he said, and then he turned to me and he said, oh, it's so nice to see you too, like he knew me. I said, yeah, you know, it was a funny evening. And then, of course, he wanted to go back to the hotel, and I said, no, I want to go home. So he took me home, but that was.
Rochelle, if we turn off the camera,
The rest of the story. Is that the alternative ending?
So
She said no, I'm coming home.
Anyway, so I thought that was a great story.
Yeah, good one.
Really good. Yeah. So, 15 minutes of fame.
Right, exactly.